Welcome back. On Capitol Hill today, Senate committee hears from experts who warn predators are targeting and manipulating young people online. A growing number of reports point to a virtual network of abusers known as 764 who coerce young victims into harming themselves or others. Now, lawmakers have introduced legislation that would make it a federal crime to coerce children into physically harming themselves or others. But in a hearing yesterday, Senator Lindsey Graham said the country has done very little to protect children so far.
Do you all agree that we've, as a nation, miserably failed our children? That we have hearings and we talk and we've done very little to protect them as of this date?
Yes.
Yes.
That's a damning indictment of all of us.
Now, the Senate committee also heard from a mother who testified her son James took his own life after becoming the victim of sextortion online. Tamia Wood says she hopes the legislation would encourage young people to speak up, knowing that the law is on their side.
My advice that I would give to parents is to talk to your children about sextortion and any other child exploitation. I don't care what it is. You speak up, you say something, you stand up for yourself, because we can make sure that we have your back no matter what. I would give anything to have my son back. And if they have to learn, if they have to see James' face, if they have to see my tears, I'm going to make sure that it happens if it means that I can save your grandchildren.
Let's bring in CBS News senior coordinating producer Anna Schecter. Anna, the Justice Department calls 764, quote, one of the most heinous online child exploitation enterprises officials have ever seen. Tell us what we know about this online network. I think a lot of parents watching this right now have a pit in their stomach right now hearing about this.
It's true. It is the latest trend of child exploitation online, but probably the most horrific that we've ever seen. 764 actually is a shorthand for a zip code of a teenager who started this a few years ago. But that might sound innocuous, but what it is it's this loosely connected community of people on various platforms. They lure young people from Discord or Telegram or even Roblox, bring them into online spaces that glorify violence, mass shootings, gore. There are videos of people who get shot and who are dying, and it desensitizes these young people and then glorifies that act and gets them to actually harm themselves or others. It's just tragic, and the FBI is taking this very seriously. They're actually deploying counterterrorism agents to try to get a handle on this, because it is a global phenomenon that we are seeing, and it's playing out in so many communities around the country. And one case is just one case, but what I've seen as I've been tracking some of these mass shootings, including at a religious school in Minnesota recently, where nihilism was behind it. It's sort of this despair, but a glorification of violence, and this idea that taking somebody's life or taking your own life is celebrated. And that's what we're seeing, Liz.
It is atrocious to hear this, Anna. And at the hearing, senators heard from the executive director at the National Center for Missing and Exploited Children, and she called the growing threats egregious. I want to listen to this sound for a minute.
The second trend NCMEC has identified in the past year is sadistic online exploitation. This trend has led to the most egregious exploitation that NCMEC has ever seen. Violent online offenders work in groups, targeting and manipulating vulnerable children, some as young as 12 years old.
Anna, how is this online exploitation evolving, and what do parents need to know in order to try to protect their children?
Well, so many kids, when they reach the age of 12, they might get a device. They might even need an iPad to do some of their schoolwork. And when their rooms, the doors are closed, the YouTube or gaming platforms, maybe they're playing video games, there are predators there that will get them to leave that gaming platform and go onto a different website where uploaded are these images of gore, and maybe they'll get them to send a photo of themselves, some kind of extortion, as she was just saying. It's this manipulation that can happen so quickly, and it can really fall off a cliff really quickly, but it can start in a gaming platform. So you might think your child is playing video games on Roblox, which should be safe, but it can evolve. You can go over to YouTube, watch an online video of how you can access this community, then get into a Telegram chat, then get onto sort of a dark web platform where this activity is happening. And it's so hard for law enforcement to tackle it because it's a game of whack-a-mole. Once one person is found out, somebody else picks it up, or even one platform is shut down. And then there are also First Amendment questions, and that's what we're seeing these lawmakers step up and say, wait a minute, we have got to put on the books a law that criminalizes this activity.
And it's one thing to tell parents about and to educate kids, but what about these different sites? Shouldn't they bear any kind of responsibility for what's happening on their platforms?
I ask this all the time, and the platforms tell me that when they identify harmful content, they take it down. But that doesn't mean that a young person has already accessed it. So you have the YouTubes of the world that I would say they do address it when they see it. That's the operative word. But then there are these other websites that I'm not going to say on here because I don't want to have people go to them and give them sort of the URL to get there. And there are First Amendment rights, First Amendment protections. There's Section 230 protections. So it's much trickier for law enforcement than you would think. As a parent, lots of people think they should just shut this down, but it's harder than just saying that, Liz.
All right. Anna Schecter, thank you so much. Really important information. I hope we keep talking about this.